This week, continuing our series on SUVs, it's the 2020 LEXUS NX. And in case you're wondering why I'm wearing a silly hat, my nephew bought it for me in Paris and insisted I wear it. I promised him I would, so here it is. First of all, the 2020 LEXUS NX has had a few upgrades. Firstly, the smart sweeping LED indicators. There are three models of NX: Luxury, F Sport and Sport Luxury. F Sport is denoted by the smart F badge and the unique 18-inch F Sport wheels. But there's been a few other upgrades too. The grille has been changed, and of course that's the solid badge for the radar cruise control. 360-degree cameras, and this combination light unit, which is LED daytime running lights and the sweeping turn indicators. But most of all is fancy stacked LED lights. They are fully automatic and have adaptive high beam on the top two models. All four doors have this little groove in them so that you can lock and unlock the doors from the outside. Unlocking is just by putting your hand inside and pulling the handle. And I like these big generous handles too. They are absolutely enormous. Sweeping indicators continue at the back, and these taillights stick out quite a long way. And we have an electric tailgate. You can't see it, but there's a little rubber button here to open the tailgate and another one to lock. And inside you can close the tailgate or close and lock the tailgate, as long as you've got the key secreted about your person, as I have. The rear is quite generous. And at first it looks like you don't have a spare, but you do, albeit a space saver. The seats go down in a 60-40 split, but this floor is quite high. In the back there's plenty of room, and there's some of this beautiful aluminium trim, and the upholstery feels really lovely. It's this perforated leather. But I've spotted a little Achilles heel. In front of me is this massive headrest. Look at it. It's enormous. And that's my view from the back. In the back, there's plenty of room between my legs and the seat in front. There's also some vents on the lovely tall console. But best of all, have a look at this. If you're on a long trip, you can stretch out a bit because the seat goes back, and you can put the headrest up and have a nap in the back. But meanwhile, in the front, there's a 10.3-inch screen, which Lexus says is the biggest in the business. The clock's been redesigned, as have these switches for the air conditioning. Now these neat little kind of metallic scrolling devices. Below that is the selector for the drive modes, which includes one that's customizable, so you can have nice gentle steering, firm suspension, and snappy acceleration. Below that is the electric park button, which comes on automatically when you put the car into park, and of course turns off again when you take the car out of park. You can turn the stop-start off and the traction control off as well. The auto brake hold for traffic, and down below is a slightly redesigned pad. Of course, this system now has CarPlay, which makes the audio system, which used to be a little bit awkward with that trackpad, very, very easy to work. But the best feature is this. Look, down here is a little mirror, so you can do your makeup. Yes, there's the one here, of course, with a tasteful cover and a light, but that is genius. And finally, inside the center console, you'll see this, and that's the Qi wireless charging pad for your phone. It's been increased in size to take larger phones. I think this is brilliant. Handling is brilliant. The changes made to suspension have really made a difference to the way NX performs. You don't have to apologize for it anymore, and as I said, it's one of the great underrated cars. In fact, Lexus as a brand is underrated. beautifully elegant. And incredibly safe. But once you're at speed, you just notice how ghostly quiet it is. It is beautiful. The other thing you notice is that the safety gadgets kick in. There's active safety gear. So the blind spot monitoring, that's active. If you try and change lanes and there's someone in your blind spot, the steering will try and steer you back into the lane again. The lane trace assist will follow the lane even around a corner. Lexus says it will operate with just one lane marking, in other words, the middle lane, or the middle line, I should say. However, you always have to make sure that you take particular care, look out where you're going. The driver is always responsible. And that's the other thing. They've changed the way some of the sensors work too. There's a camera for autonomous emergency braking, and it now works with the lane control and cruise control. There's also radar as well. There's parking sensors and this fantastic 360-degree view monitor. When you park, you can press the view button and it'll do a fly around the car as if the car wasn't there. So you can see if there's anyone outside that means to do you damage. It's something that's been in the more expensive Lexuses for a long time, and now it's available in NX from F Sport upwards. The power from the 2-litre turbo engine is smooth and linear, and oddly, the transmission is only a 6-speed. That's something I imagine will change with the next model. Speaking of next model, I mentioned before that the NX is based on the previous generation of RAV4. The previous generation of RAV4 was Toyota's old platform. The new RAV4 is Toyota's new platform. However, the changes they've made to it, I can't notice any difference between this and the new platform. But it's the thoughtful touches that Lexus adds that I think make all the difference. The concierge service for your servicing. They'll come and collect your car. I'm just going to turn on, and I've turned the cruise control on now, and it's keeping me a set distance from the car in front, a distance that I can change with this button on the steering wheel, and it will operate right down to 0. Then once the cars in front move off, this will move off as well with just a gentle dab of accelerator. Lexus is always looking out around you to make sure that you're not doing anything wrong. This is actually steering itself around the corner, by the way. My hands are just resting on the steering wheel. If I was to do that for too long, it will tell me to put my hands back on the steering wheel again, even if my hands are actually on the steering wheel. What I discovered about NX though was, as brilliant as it is around town, it's nippy and the drive modes are brilliant, and even in Sports Plus mode the suspension isn't too hard. But once out on the open road, it is a different story altogether. It is, in normal mode, limousine-like ride, and it's comfortable. There's also a phone app as well. You can do a lot of things with this car that you weren't able to do with previous generations of Lexuses. Now we're coming up to a set of lights. I haven't got my foot on the accelerator or the brake. So the Lexus is looking ahead. I can see on the dashboard that it's seen the car in front. Oh, is it going to stop? It's slowing down. It's slowing down. Slowing down. And it's going to pull up. Now the car in front's moving very slowly. Now someone was coming into the lane and I decided to let him in, and the cruise control wasn't going to let him in, so I've braked myself. But I have reactivated it, so now the car is doing this by itself. It's moving off very slowly. Now it's picking up speed, again, doing it all by itself. The one thing that is missing that I'd really like to have in this is Lexus's brilliant heads-up display. That's only available in the top model. I love the interior. It is subtle and understated. Toyota and Lexus now have CarPlay, so I can't complain about that either. The fuel consumption is excellent, and on a long trip, you'd be able to get probably 800 kilometres out of the 60-litre tank. The hybrids, of course, have a slightly smaller tank. So to round up, you can get LEXUS NX in 3 grades. There's 2 drivetrains. There's 2 transmissions. The hybrids, of course, have a CVT. The range starts in the 50s. This particular model, the mid-range model with all-wheel drive 2-litre turbo, is 65,000 and some change. The steering is delightful. The suspension is fantastic. I like the looks. Some people don't. I like them very much. The subtle tweaks for this upgrade have made improvements. There's nothing they've done badly. The surfacing is all beautifully soft, and this gurry or whatever it is, aluminium, looks sensational. There's paddle shifters for my 6-speed automatic. The buttons on the steering wheel are so easy to use, and they're backlit. In short, LEXUS NX is brilliant. As always, if you've liked the film, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll also put a link to the full specs plus the written review in the video description. But meanwhile, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe just there on the little round button.